Welcome to the House of Fandom. This is your host, Clark, on the check-in, and we are excited to bring to you Batman on film. We've got a great show tonight. I am super excited. Without further ado, let me just go and bring the lineup of our panel tonight, kicking things off with my man, Spike. What's cooking, brother? How are you?
Backwards. I'm good, man. How you doing?
Act like you never
left.
Yeah.
Act like I never left. Exactly.
Yeah, you never left, right? Well, this is a special episode, which I'm sure you're really excited about because it is Batman on film, and everyone knows how big of a Batman fan you are, and Danny, right? So this is a special show, and you guys are really going to be able to shine tonight. The darkness rises tonight, and we're so super excited about that. So, great show. On my left corner, if you're watching the screen, this gentleman has no introduction. He's wearing his spring beard. He's out of hibernation. He's wearing his spring beard. He is ready to go. Listen, we don't have a Andre the Giant. We do not have a Hulk. We do not have a bearded dragon. But what we do have, ladies and gentlemen, is a Tank. What's up, Tank? How are you, brother?
Doing good. Just ready to talk about some Batman here.
Yes, sir. And I love the way you did that with your Superman cup. The shadiness is real, and I appreciate it. And I love it. I'm all for it, okay? And last but not least, how could we not have this Batman show without our former host? You know him as the Collector's Corner owner and operator. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Danny. What's up, Danny? I know you're excited about this show tonight. What is up with you?
Dan, I've been waiting for House of Fandom to cover a full dedicated episode to the Cape Crusader himself. I didn't think I had to ever do this with two Superman fans, but I will adjust. So it's okay. But I'm super happy to be here. I mean, there's a lot of hype going on with Batman right now with the new motion picture cut releasing this Friday. Absolutely. So what better time to cover every Batman since then tonight?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be exciting. And, Danny's going to give us a little treat at the end since he already has seen it in a special media press screening. So we'll definitely be excited to get a little teaser of what's to come, because next week, the House of Fandom returns back with an amazing episode completely devoted to deconstructing the Batman. Will the host and guest host of the House of Fandom, will that actually be a winner, or will it not be? We'll see. I'm excited about it. Without further ado, let's get things going. We're going to go back in time here to the summer of 1989 when the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson star Batman came out. So I'm going to just hand it over to you, Spike, because I imagine that you were in your 40s or 30s at that time. How old were you?
48 in 1989.
Great. So how old were you when you first saw it? Like, in all seriousness, obviously he's not really in his 70s here. How old were you when you saw Batman, and where were you actually? So give us like some background as to where you were.
The scene was so thick, man. All the players, all the hustlers, everybody was there. No, I'm kidding. That's a song for everybody that don't know. 1989, bro. Detroit, Michigan for me. Hype was there, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I was 12 years old. I don't remember a ton of what do you call it, like promos and teasers like we get today during that time. I just remember, hey, the movie's coming. Here's the date. Quick little clip of like maybe the Batmobile, something like that. Obviously, super excited to see it. Burton's rendition or version of Batman for me was unbelievable. It was something that I always dreamed Batman would be. It was dark. It was mysterious. It was, strong. Like, right in the beginning where you see Batman have that fight with the criminals on the rooftop where he grabs the guy, the classic scene, "Who are you?" And he says, "I'm Batman." That sent chills through me, bro. It set the stage and the precedent for the entire movie. So it gave me a feeling of, you know, my hero has come to life.
Very
If that
nice.
makes sense for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm still at the age where I enjoyed cosplay. You know, so dressing up and whatever I had to pretend to be Batman to, you know, have fun with the toys at that time and just really enjoy him being more than what you saw in the cartoon or the Adam West version of Batman. It really brought the character to life for a lot of people. And also, I was learning more about actors at this point in my life. I was a huge and still am a huge Beetlejuice fan. That's what I knew Michael Keaton from because I didn't really watch his other adult movies. So Beetlejuice is playing Batman and he's showing me his range and I'm loving it. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Sounds like you had a great experience. Let me ask you this: you heard all the rumblings back then, there wasn't the internet, but there was a lot of fan uproar about Michael Keaton being in the role of Batman. Folks were really concerned. The fans were in an uproar, feeling that maybe that it was going to be not treated with like reverence and dignity. It was going to be more like a campy, you know, like the TV show, the Adam West show, which, you know, for its time, it was a good show. I'm not downing that specific show, but a lot of folks were worried about it. Do you recall ever like having any concerns, or were you young enough to just say, you know what, Michael Keaton, hey, I'm in, I don't care?
At that age, I wasn't concerned with the actor. I was concerned about the film because, as I mentioned, I wanted, you know, at 12, I was coming into the realm of being introduced to different comics and understanding different aspects of Batman. I had older guys that I knew from church and from the neighborhood who were comic book fans who would tell me and show me different areas of villains of Batman and also what he was like. Because, you know, comics, a lot of people don't know that. Comics got really dark for a minute, which was great and gruesome. But during those days, man, there was a lot of restrictions on comics. That's why they got so campy, you know, just to stay afloat. People had a huge issue with them being too realistic, too gruesome. And so they got really light and airy, kind of like what you saw with the Adam West Batman, just to really kind of stay afloat and keep the characters alive. So to see them kind of come back around and start kind of delving into this, and even though this is 1989, you still got a lot of restrictions out here as to what you can put on film, especially something that they considered was aimed at kids, which during that time it kind of was. So for me, I was at 12 concerned that I wasn't going to get a good movie, but I was still excited. I wasn't overly concerned, but just a little bit because I'm 12. But
I mean, exactly
the
right.
previews were enough to make me feel like I was going to get something good. It was exciting. It was different. And I hadn't seen anything really in a superhero take. I think at that time, you know, I didn't like Tron. And I have to say the early Spider-Man, like for TV movies, weren't really good. So other than Christopher Reeve's Superman 1 and 2, and I don't know if 2 was out. 2 was probably out around then. Those are probably the only movies that were like hero-esque that were okay. So I'm looking for something to give me my hero.
I like that. Very, very nice, well articulated. Well, let me ask you, Danny, our equal Batman connoisseur, fandom maniac. Where were you? I imagine you were a wee lad in the Bronx, New York. I mean, I don't know. Were you even born then? So tell us about your experience in watching the first Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah, my experience was so much different from Spike because, yes, I wasn't 12 back then. I was a wee little boy. I was 4 when the movie actually released.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I was 4 when that movie released there. But, you know, I got to see it a couple years later after it was released on VHS. And for our younger audience who doesn't realize, not everything used to be available 90 days, 60 days after the movie came out. Back in those days, like movies came out like a year and a half sometimes.
Right.
You know, so by the time I actually got my hands on it, I think I was probably closer to 6 at that point. So, you know, at that time, I wasn't aware of Batman. I didn't know who Batman was. I mean, I did to an extent because I did have a babysitter who probably should have been watching me closer than she should have there. But, you know, I saw Adam West before I saw Michael Keaton as Batman. I mean, I can even tell you, I know for a fact, as a kid, I probably dressed up as Batman for Halloween maybe 4 Halloweens in a row. You know, when a new costume came out, I just got the new costume. You know, so my first time was Adam West. I had an Adam West costume there. So when I finally got to see the Tim Burton version of Batman, it blew my mind away because my entire childhood to this point was simply Adam West, pow, zoom up to the moon, all the little captions on the screen, and I loved it. I thought it was great. As a kid, I thought it was great. But then I got to sink my teeth into this, and I'm like, first things that caught my eye was like, oh, Batman looks meaner. He looks scarier. He looks like tougher. Like I couldn't put my finger on it there, you know. But watching the movie and seeing that all play out, especially seeing how the Joker was interpreted in this film compared to what I was used to as a kid, this was like a horror movie to me. But it just caught my attention throughout the entire time. And right after I watched that movie, like I couldn't go back to watching an Adam West episode again. Like it was just like, this is awesome. This is cool. He's got all these gadgets. There's a Batwing. There's a Batmobile. There's all these things here. And ever since I've never looked back. I've just constantly looked forward to everything I can absorb with Batman throughout the years. And now be a full-fledged adult. It's amazing that we've gotten so many iterations of Batman over these years in film now. So, but I mean, for this one, this was a standard bearer for all of us moving forward. I mean, it literally changed the genre. I think it practically created the genre, or I should at least not say create, but I can at least say that it revived the genre after Superman.
Right.
Unfortunately, came out. So we didn't have a good comic book movie iteration since then. So that was a long time. What was that? A good 10 years in between then and the last Superman movie. Clark, what was that?
Superman 3 came out in 1983. The unfortunate Superman 4 that flopped at the box office came out in 1987. But the crest of all the Superman came out in 1978, and Superman 2, that's when it was really, leading up to Superman 3.
At its peak.
Yeah. At its peak, absolutely. So, but in 1989, the Batman was released. This is actually, you brought up that, it took a long time for movies to come out on home video. Batman was one of the ones that actually went directly to sell to consumers, because normally you would go right to rental first and then a couple of years later to buy. So it came out in the summer of 89 and it was out in November of 89 on home video. So it was a very short window considering, like what the normal cadence would be for a release like that. And now we know, of course, that things come out day and date sometimes, and, with everything that's happened, with the pandemic and everything. But, so it sounds like you have, even though you were younger, Danny, it sounds like your experiences, were very vivid and it really stood with you, right?
Yeah, so I mean, think about what we had in the 80s there as far as television, movies, and stuff like that. I grew up, with Ghostbusters, the cartoons. I remember being really into He-Man, Masters of the Universe. I remember being into Thundercats. So up to this point in my very short life, there was nothing like this out there. There was absolutely nothing like this at all. And then having some familiarity with the character through the television show, and then seeing this explosive difference from what I'm used to. I mean, it was a culture shock for me, So, once I got a taste of that, I mean, that really sculpted who my heroes are going to be going forward. So, yeah, I wasn't into Thundercats and He-Man anymore after that. It was just Batman all the time. Nice. To the point where my parents were probably sick of buying every action figure that came out for every new movie.
Very nice. Well, let me ask, Tank to interject real quick. Kind of Tank and I, while we're not Batman connoisseurs, we are Superman connoisseurs. But Tank, what are your memories of the Michael Keaton Batman movie? What were your initial memories of when you saw it?
I don't remember what age I was because I was 5 when it came out. I don't remember what age I was I saw it, because my first memory of Batman is the animated series with Kevin Conroy. So I don't know if I saw it before then or after. I don't know if I saw it before or after that. But like I said, I was before then. I kind of same thing as Danny. I was always more like He-Man, Thundercats, Mighty Max. That was it. That was a dope cartoon.
Mighty Max, yeah, Mighty Max, yeah.
my first like I think the first comic book show I liked was either like Spider-Man or X-Men. And then like when Batman and Superman shows came out, that's kind of when I got into DC. But no, whenever I first saw Batman, like I said, I'm more Superman fan. I don't hate Batman. I just like, giving Batman people shit because that's what they do to me. But no, like I said, one thing about it is, just the set pieces. Gotham looks amazing in that whole. We even rewatched it now. Gotham just still looks like how you would think Gotham would look. Keaton, Keaton was, like I said, just like Spike said, when he said I'm Batman, which I thought he said it more than the one time in the two movies, but he only said it that one time, and it's like you said, gives you chills. So I mean, that was like I said, I don't remember my first memory of it because like I said, I wasn't a huge Batman fan like them, but I mean, I just remember thinking it was a good movie. Keaton did good as Batman. The set pieces in Gotham looked good. Jack Nicholson as Joker was amazing. Just perfect right of crazy Joker. Looking back, the smile, like the smile without the makeup looks weird. Looking back at it, which is probably the point. But I think I prefer,
it was a bit jarring.
Yeah, I think I prefer like the the practical smile that like Ledger had than or at least just without the makeup. But I guess that's the point. He just wanted to freak people out with when he put the human makeup on.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting for me is I was a teenager. I was I want to say 83, 16 years old. I saw it in a theater in New York City. It was the Jackson Triplex on 82nd Street. So for all my New York peeps that are listening right now, you remember the Jackson Triplex. It was one of those older movies that had a balcony and like red velvet curtains, and it was like truly an event. Like the seats were absolutely atrocious and uncomfortable. They were plush seats, but they were nice for that time. They were really comfortable as a kid. But like now we're so spoiled with recliners, like we're in our own bedroom, right? Our own house.
That old
50 years ago.
They didn't have stadium seating either.
No stadium seating.
No,
completely different layout.
It was a like a true show, like a true show, like seeing King Kong. Like if you watch the old King Kong movie, when they presented King Kong, the RKO 1930s version. But one of the things that folks need to understand that have not realized this up until this point, Michael Keaton was not what the fans wanted. The fans were in a complete uproar that Mr. Mom, I don't know if you remember, he was in Mr. Mom, that Mr. Mom, that Beetlejuice would be Batman. They absolutely were losing their mind. They wrote letters to Warner Brothers, and the Wall Street Journal reported that the executives were panicking because they had an untested director. His only credit, Tim Burton at the time, was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which was considered a very weird and risque film at that point.
It's classic.
It is a classic, but at the time, excuse me, at the time, he was not the ideal choice. They wanted someone like a Richard Donner, Superman, Lethal Weapon, like a mainstream director. They didn't know that Tim Burton could produce and really deliver on this this film. But specifically, all of the hatred from the fans, and this was pre-internet, pre-anything like that, came about Michael Keaton being cast. He was either too short, he was too nerdy looking, he was a geek, there is no way he is a comedian. He's going to ruin Batman. He will ruin Batman. And with that, let me also give a shout out to Alma, who's on the chat room, saying the Jackson Theater. She remembers it. And she also loved the Penguin. So there we go. So we're getting a lot of love there. Juice 313 is there as well. And Nelson, what's cooking? But I think the biggest thing we have to take away from that is that actors are actors. We all know, and we'll talk about this. I know you guys will dissect it. Let's not forget how much hatred went about when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I know you guys do, but a lot of folks may not remember that. So with that said, I am going to play a rare trailer This teaser trailer was released because Warner Brothers was in a panic that people were going to boycott the movie. Okay? So what they did was, in the winter of 1988, the film was just like in the midst of filming, in the middle of filming. They put together a haphazard trailer that had no music at all. It only had very little dialogue and certain scenes. But the most iconic scene was when and here's how our memories can kind of fade, and what the villain said, the robber at the rooftop, was, "What are you?" And that's when Michael Keaton said the most famous line, "I'm Batman." That is what changed things. Let's play that trailer now, and I want us to discuss it afterwards, because this I think is one of those that really changed the trajectory of this film, and it goes to show you what marketing can do to change the tide. And of course, sensational performance by Michael Keaton as Batman, and of course, Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Okay, so here we go. You ready? We're going to play the trailer now. Ladies and gentlemen, a rare trailer released by Warner Brothers in response to fan venom that they were casting Michael Keaton as Batman. It's coming, everybody. It's coming.
Vicky Vale.
Hi. All right, it's playing now. Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
I'd like you to handle this operation personally.
Me? Nice outfit.
Hold on a second. I can't make it then either. I've got a very important meeting today.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man! What are you?
I'm Batman.
Mm-hmm. Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
Alfred, let's go shopping.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me.
You gotta be careful when you said it's coming. It came through.
I feel a little drunk. And you're not anything.
Hey, one drink and I'm flying.
Wing freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
We go back live. Make sure you let everybody know how much.
All right, folks, we're back. So that was the trailer that I was talking about, the teaser that came out. It was one of those where you had to be there. From what I understand, people were literally going to the theater just to see the trailer. So I definitely want your thoughts on that. What did you guys think of this teaser?
Well, I mean, I think having that teaser, I mean, not knowing the backstory of this until later on in life, it was honestly, it was a lifesaver for the movie. I mean, with that kind of backlash going on, even before anybody's seen any footage, going by, casting that we don't necessarily agree with. If we were directing the movie, the fact that, Warner Brothers kind of threw out that Hail Mary just to kind of give the audience some peace of mind. Like, we know what we're doing. We know this process is scary, but we respect the property, and we're going to give it a really good take on the character that you guys are so passionate about. So, it sounds like to me, not knowing so much because I was 4 years old at the time, but it sounds like WB has been playing the game of putting out fires with DC fans for a lot longer than I realized. So nothing's changed. It's just they got an early start, I guess.
Yeah, and Spike, I want your thoughts on it too, because I don't know if you've seen this trailer before or if this was the first time you've seen it.
First time I've seen this particular trailer, to my recollection. Obviously, when I'm looking at it, I remember the film, but it's weird because if the fans at this time were anything like we are today, obviously there was no internet and things like that. I feel like that they would absolutely be very protective, but I was one of the people as a young man in that 18 to 30 demographic when I got a little older that was really against these cheesy comic book movies or attempts. And so I was looking for something that had some meat and potatoes to it, something I could sink my teeth in and really enjoy. And so what I would take from that prior to this, if those letters were any kind of way, is to, because remember, you got to remember, during this time in '89, most of the people that were vocal about comics and comic book characters were just considered nerds. Studios didn't care about people.
True.
They didn't care about comic book fans or anybody like that. All they cared about was making money, which they're kind of that way today. But they did not believe that you could make these type of movies without aiming them at kids and make money. And so I could totally see some true Batman fans feeling like, if you're going to make a movie, please, for the love of God, don't give us crap. Make a good movie that we can all enjoy as Batman fans. We buy the tickets, we buy the merch, we buy the comics. We want to see this. Please listen to us. And so it was a Hail Mary by Warner Brothers to help save, the bank and the money, the financing, because, during this time, you got to remember, all of the merchandising and everything goes to, like, if you get McDonald's on board, it's a done deal, So you want lock, stock, and barrel. You want the movies to just go, but you're selling those toys and the Happy Meals and all of that, and it's a ton of stuff that moves away from this that makes the real money, not just the film. And so to throw that out there and show the clip was genius, to be honest with you, because that would give me, if I was that afraid and then that clip comes out, I'm like, okay. And I'm sure we're going to touch on this later, but that was me with Heath Ledger. And I've said this numerous times to people, but we'll go back to that later. So I could totally understand those people needing something to calm them down and make them feel like, okay, they're going to at least try to do this well. Let's hope that the script is good, because so far from what we're seeing, this looks like an amazing movie. And to Danny's point, you hadn't seen anything like this before, because Danny, you brought up He-Man, and Clark, you remember this. Again, aimed at kids and campy. They made a live-action He-Man movie in the 80s. With
Dolph Lundgren, anyone?
Yep. And so it was cheesy. It was.
I did like that movie too. As a kid, I did like that movie too.
I did too. I did as a kid. But think about
not gonna front.
This is kids' movie. So think about that. It was very much appealing to the cartoon. And then you have Tim Burton's version of Batman that's nothing like what you've seen in cartoons or Batman before that's coming to the screen. Everybody wants to know what this is about, what's happening here. So to see that trailer gives you a perspective of what Tim Burton's looking at. And Warner Brothers, to their credit, bro, and forgive me, guys, because I could go on about this forever. They pulled out all stops, because Danny Elfman's score to this movie, chef's kiss.
Legendary.
Absolutely.
Legendary.
Perfect word. Legendary. It sells the film in the intro. Before you even get into it, you got goosebumps, bro, hearing him go with his classic sound. So it's equivalent to, and forgive me, guys, because I can't remember his name. He does the score for
Danny Elfman.
For Superman. No.
Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer. I'm sorry, Hans Zimmer.
For Superman. For Star
oh no,
Wars.
John Williams. I'm sorry, John Williams.
John
Williams.
And he's the one that did Star Wars too, right?
Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Close Encounters, E.T. Numerous.
Is what I'm thinking about. So John Williams. Then you have Danny Elfman with Batman. Those legendary people, that sound you will never forget. Oh, and the guy that does Rocky, the Rocky films, those scores, forever etched in history. Okay, forever. So Danny sells you off the bat, coming along. So for me, think about it. They really did have, I feel like, the right people in the offices and prepared to make this film. Perfect Hail Mary, right on time, way to save the day.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. And Danny too, like with the just kind of looking at it and seeing what they did and taking that risk to put it out there. Obviously, they felt so confident in the product and that it was going to be a great movie. I mean, we all know the rest is history. It was a complete blockbuster. It made over $40 million. The first movie ever to make $40 million over 3 days. It was the biggest, at the time, weekend of history. Batmania went across the United States. The bat symbol, as Danny's wearing, was something that everybody was wearing, including this young lad at the time. Everyone was talking about Batman. Let's not forget Prince, the late Prince, did the bat dance. I mean, can we forget about that?
How awesome is that?
Listen, Hey, listen, he did the bat. Listen, what was cool about the bat dance is it was one of those like Prince songs that was just it was pretty cool. You know what I mean?
It was Prince's Thriller. That's what it was. That was his version of Thriller.
Oh yeah.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean,
and you probably know this too, guys, is that Prince really wanted to play the Joker in this movie. He was signed to Warner.
Scheduled program.
Yeah. So anyway, I missed this. Yeah. No, but Spike, you were talking about Prince. I think I forget who. I lost my track of thought there, but yeah, I mean,
Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams, I know, wanted the role as well too, and I think he was like in deep negotiations where they really wanted the name power of Jack Nicholson to kind of offset it because they didn't feel Keaton was the bigger draw. Mm-hmm. In fact, I mean, I think we have a clear example. We're just talking about people actually. People were motivated if they wrote letters. Like, can you imagine people today? I mean,
letters, bro.
We're so lazy today. I mean, unless if it's on Twitter, we can't even be bothered. You know. Yep. So I can imagine that was pretty big. That must have been a really big deal. But
I didn't have Twitter back there, so the Karens and Kevins of the world had to send letters.
To Danny's point, though.
Well, listen, I think it was more Kevins, guys, at the time.
Seriously, yeah. About how many letters they had to get in order for it to have an impact. It's different when it's social media because one good post travels around and retweets or whatever. But think about how many letters had to actually come to the studio to make them be concerned. You're literally talking about thousands. Had to be thousands of letters to come in for them to be like, okay, wait a minute, and they're still coming.
They had time back then.
No, they had a lot of time. They were it's bad when the Wall Street Journal puts it out that Warner Brothers in panic mode as fanboys are in uproar at casting of Michael Keaton as Batman. They were not happy. Let's just put it that way. That's crazy. They were not happy. What'd you think of the trailer, Tank? The teaser. I mean, this is probably obviously the first time you've seen it. It's a little bit different. Like, it just right to the point. No background music. Not really polished or anything like that. What were your thoughts? Was it effective? If you were watching it, you go, you know what, man, this is interesting.
Yeah, if I was old enough to remember it back then, yeah, I would have liked it. Would have got me interested to go and see the movie. Like I said, I mean, only back then, like I said, I think what he had Mr. Mom when was that before or after that Multiplicity movie he was in?
Multiplicity came out after Batman, yeah.
Okay.
It was only before.
Okay. Like I said to me, yeah, I mean, I was, a small-minded person back in that day. I think that would have definitely got me interested. I mean, like I said, telling Spike this the other day, that Batmobile is still my favorite Batmobile.
No question.
Probably because it was his first. See, Tank hadn't seen the movie, but he had.
My first was movie-wise, yeah. Movie-wise, yeah, it was first. Like, the first one I saw was the animated movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which is similar too, but yeah. So
that
only one before that was the 2-car one with Adam West. So of course that was what other one would I've seen before that.
No, I'm saying in general though, like by the time you saw this movie, you had already had all the toys. You had the Batmobile, you had all of the Batman, the different little outfits. So it was a nice little. I warmed him up good. We got it ready to make him a fan. So I lost him during the teen years, man. Teenagers go their own way, and
rebelling.
Like Clark got on him and threw some angel dust or something on him. He got him in Superman. I don't know, man, but we'll bring him home.
No, you
won't. and breaking him. And when you think about Batman, with Michael Keaton, obviously he reprised his role for Batman Returns, which scared the bat shiz out of kids everywhere with the depiction of the Penguin with bile coming out. That one was actually, here's an interesting fun fact if you want to talk about Kevin and Karen's. There were people in such an uproar because of the way the Penguin was portrayed and of the Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, which is now considered the golden standard, right, as far as a performance, that they went on to like Maury Povich and all of these talk shows saying that how could McDonald's, do a tie-in with Batman Returns when it's like you've got the Penguin with bile coming out and all of the sexual innuendo that they said was being portrayed between Batman and Catwoman, which, if we really think about it, if you look at that now and you see some of the stuff that's out there now, that is way tame, considering what's out there and targeted, now to, to the teen PG-13, audience. But that's an interesting tidbit. But yeah, when Batman Returns came out, I would ask you guys this question: how old were you guys then? Because at this point, it's been several years later. Batman Returns was another big hit. It wasn't as big as Warner Brothers had anticipated because there was a lot of backlash, right? Because of it being dark. Nowadays, it goes back in time. People think about it as actually a better film than the first one. I am curious what the panel thinks about that. And Danny, I'll ask you to take us off. What do you think about Batman Returns? Does it hold up today? Do you find it better than, ranked better than the original Batman 1989?
Yeah, great question, Clark. It's funny you were saying that, and as you were saying that, I was absolutely thinking to myself, I was definitely one of those people. I actually prefer Batman Returns over Batman 89. And it's not necessarily because it's anything more special than that. It's just like Batman Returns was, to me, was like was really like an upgrade from what we already got there. Like things that, like, even as a kid I didn't like the cowl that Michael Keaton had in the original one. It was very thick. I mean,
the cowl, the legendary cowl that. Fun fact, everyone, which I'm sure you Bat fanatics would know this, but Michael Keaton could not turn around his neck. He had to move his whole body because the cowl would not turn, and so he had very limited movement in the suit.
Yeah, every Batman hasn't been able to move their neck until 2008, until The Dark Knight came out.
Correct.
So, fun fact.
But he was the first. But he was the first one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was the first Batman. Of course he was. Yeah, he's the first one.
Technically, Adam West was, and he was able to move his cowl. So, tomato.
It was made out of cotton. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is whatever it was. Batman. Keaton had full-on rubber moldings and stuff like that, man. That's a little different there. But no, I thought the bat suit was a lot better. I thought the emblem, notice it's not the original 89 emblem, it's the 92 emblem. That one I thought was a big improvement there. Just everything about it. I mean, aesthetics-wise, Gotham in Christmas was a beautiful sight to see there. I mean, it had Catwoman, which was one of my favorite villains as well. A Penguin, like you were touching on, I've never pictured Penguin looking like that in a million years. To this day, it is still very creepy. To this day, it is still a very creepy looking Penguin, especially when he's in his onesie outfit and he just got the gloves like this and stuff like that. Still creeps me out to this day. But hey, I mean, I can see how like some people didn't like the story as much coming off of 89, but I feel like it was a stronger structured movie for me personally. I thought it took a lot of what was good about the 89 and focused on that and made it a little bit better. So I remember, this is where I can finally get into merchandising here. I had Wayne Manor, the toy, the toy.
Do you still have Wayne Manor?
No, unfortunately not. You know how it is.
I know.
You know how it is. You move out of your parents' house and you say, "Hey, Mom, what happened to the box of my toys?" "Oh, I gave it to some kids that needed it." And I tell them, "But I needed it more." But whatever. But I remember I had Wayne Manor, and it had the Batcave on the other side of it. So it would open up, and you can park your Batmobile on the one side, and you had one section where like it would hold one Batman suit, and you would have Bruce Wayne with computers, and it was an awesome toy. It was an awesome toy. I remember that. Like, that's something I wish I still have to this day. Maybe I'll go look it on eBay or something. But
hey, listen, it'll be probably worth a lot. That's for sure. But let me ask you before I move to Spike. You got a little bit of a nice little collectible, repertoire in your background. You got a little something that you can give us, a little high end collectible that you have that's related to Michael Keaton? Give the folks a little teaser of what you got for your collection.
Little taste of the collection.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Cheap plugs. Why not? Let's do it. Okay. Let's see here. Well, I'll tell you what. We skipped over 89 Batman, but I do have something here I can actually show everybody. So this right here.
Oh,
is the 89 Jack Nicholson.
That is amazing. Bring that closer to your camera, dude. That is now the likeness on that is absolutely phenomenal. I believe it's a Hot Toys, right?
It is Hot Toys. You know me. I like my Hot Toys stuff.
Yeah,
there.
That's an amazing Jack Nicholson likeness. And to get his likeness was a real big coup for Hot Toys to be able to get that.
And to prove my point, how much I really like the 92 Batman Returns suit, I do have that one as well too.
Oh yeah, that is. Bring it closer to the camera. Like I really want the team to see. Like that is just amazing. I mean, like the quality of it. It really is a great item. I mean, that is a true collector. Imagine we had that when it first came out. I mean, obviously they're very high end, collectibles and figures, but I mean, amazing, addition to your varied collection. So
I remember the original toys had a utility belt that kind of pulled out like a spring, so you can kind of hook your Batman up to. I remember those. So yeah.
Oh yeah, very nice. Thanks for sharing that. Before we move on to Spike, let me just remind everyone that we are the House of Fandom. Everyone or anyone is welcome to the House of Fandom, no matter where you are. So we want you all to know that if you're looking for pop culture, you're looking to talk about or hear, the latest on movies, streamings, DC, Marvel, Star Wars, you name it, you've come to the right place. This is the place where we talk about everything related to fandom. I want to also give a shout out to the room. We've got a nice little group of people out there. Let me give a shout out to Juice313. He actually said, are we all watching Batman tonight? So he wanted to know if we're watching Batman tonight. I'll be watching it on Saturday. I believe, Spike, you said Saturday as well?
That is correct.
And Tank, when do you have your scheduled Batman viewing?
Saturday.
Yeah, so I mean, we're all going to see it Saturday. Obviously, we have Danny, who had a special media screening and was able to see a fandom screening for those of you that are in the know. But yeah, he was able to see it, so he'll give us some brief, spoiler-free, thoughts at the end of the show. So stick around for that. But Juice313, Cliff Bravo, appreciate the support. Alma, who's on there. I want to give a shout out to Hector, Victor, who is out there, and then also the rest of the people that are here, including Nelson and Townie Sports, our old Townie Sports guys. Looks like Sammy's on there. They got their own channel as well, Townie Sports. So, we appreciate you guys. So I just wanted to put that plug out there, and we appreciate the engagement on there. Also, too, Danny, Juice313 said cotton and LOL. But
it's the first material I can think of.
And then he said they probably got it from a thrift store. So that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny though, that when you said cotton, and then of course Spike, not to be outdone, was like, well, polyester. So very good. John H. High. Spike, what did you think of Batman Returns? Does this fall under the sequel was better than the original for you?
No. It was good. I enjoyed it as a Batman fan. Happy to see Burton directing again. I'm a little older when this one comes out, but I'm a little biased. And I'll say why. To Danny's point, the cinematography of Batman Returns was amazing. It was shot very well. Gotham did look amazing with the snow, the coloring with a little bit of a bluish tint. I thought DeVito was great as the Penguin, much better than I anticipated, because I only really knew him of Taxi at the time, and so he did a great job. Michelle Pfeiffer, like I said, she set the bar. She was sexy. She was everything we hoped she would be, and then some. It was a really good movie. I'm only biased because I had two problems. One with the original Batman is I did not like, even at 12, Alfred bringing Vicky Vale to the Batcave. That bothered me more than anything.
I was wondering when when you were gonna bring that, or someone was gonna bring it up. I thought it was gonna be Danny, because you can't, Danny would probably have some feelings on that. I'm curious on that, Danny, in a second.
Bruce is
but
a billionaire, bro. He protects his identity religiously. Okay, Alfred let her in there. That drove me nuts. I'm like, get rid of her, erase her brain, whatever you got to do. This is not Batman. You don't do this. And in films, I hate when they do this with heroes. You can relate with Superman giving away his powers. Trash. It don't happen, bro. Okay? But my biggest issue is, and as an adult, I kind of get it, because, over the years, you see Bruce is the only person he's a sucker for is freaking Selena Kyle. And in Batman Returns, he's got the whole cowl ripped off, bro. He ripped the cowl off. That burns me like nobody's business. That made me hate that movie for years. Seriously, I know it's small to a lot of people, but I'm like, you're freaking Batman, man. You don't have to do this, okay? You got her anyway. Stop it. So for that reason, yeah.
I don't know about that one.
I know. I was gonna say I disagree.
You can. That's why we're here. I don't want you guys to agree with me. This is why I didn't like it as much. That, and I don't like when, they kind of if Batman loses control of his equipment, his cars and stuff like that. I don't like all that. No.
All right. Very good.
So that's just for me. That part pulled it back. But other than that, it was a good movie.
All right,
the one error that Returns has is the only thing that gripes me, and it's not as big as that, but you bring up part of it, though. The scene where he takes off the mask. Batman always has his eyes painted over here.
Yep.
And then to do a quick shot, when he's about to reveal it, the paint's already gone.
Oh, of course.
That's the only thing that annoys me. That's the only thing that annoys me.
They had no choice. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, it's clear. Like, well, you're gonna have him with, like a black eye. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been a weird look aesthetically.
I think, you know what? You should just own it. You should just own it there. I mean, if you're not gonna do the true, white-eyed version of a Batman cowl, and you're gonna do this to cover some of that there, you should let them know, like, hey, listen, my Batman does that, so it blends in better. I mean,
right.
Not to get into this here, but if you guys noticed in the trailers for the new Batman movie, Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, when he takes off the cowl, he still has it on. Works for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, let me ask this, Tank. What say you about all this, mumbo jumbo that's going back and forth? Batman Returns versus Batman 1989. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously you don't really have a huge stake in the game, but did you think that the sequel surpassed the original, or are you a purist and you'll say, you know what, Batman 1989 stands out?
I would say Batman 1989, only because Returns doesn't have anything because I just like the tower scene, where he was going up, beating everybody up, had to, killing people, because he did kill like 2 people, during that tower scene.
Not true.
The Batman Returns doesn't have a scene like that at all to me.
He does.
Wait, hold on one second. Did you just say that there was no killing in Batman Returns?
No, I said it doesn't have a tower scene.
Oh, tower scene. I'm sorry.
Scene. The whole scene itself, not just the killing, the whole scene itself. There's him fighting, going over the tower, beating up all of Joker's henchmen.
I'll be honest with you. That tower scene, I like that. That's a great analogy, or a great assessment, Tank, because that scene, why is that underrated? You know what I mean? Because that was actually a pretty good scene. Although, let's be honest here. If I'm the Joker, and I'm not very much in shape, Joker, Jack Nicholson, do I really want to climb 100 stairs, 100 stories on this bell tower?
He's psychotic, bro.
I mean, I don't know.
Probably have someone carry him.
Yeah.
Probably have someone carry him.
Well, no one was carrying him. We saw him walk up with Kim Basinger, with Vicky Vale.
You're not thinking about whether you're huffing and puffing. He's out of his mind already.
Right. All right. Whatever. Okay. Fine. But getting back to Tank, so Tank, you're gonna go with 1989 being the better of the Batman.
Yeah, Returns was good. Like I said, especially for me, like introduction to Batman was the animated series, and the Penguin. I don't know how Penguin looked in the comics before this, but Penguin in animated series looks pretty close to Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Right.
So that was good. That was a good connection to me. Obviously, Michelle Pfeiffer in it all, that tight skin patent leather. You know, that was good for 8-year-old Tank.
Oh,
no, but
like a curve.
Also, one thing I did want to say about the tower scene is that one thing that did stick out to me when I was a kid was like the only person that was able to give Batman them hands was the black guy in that whole movie.
Oh my god,
the black guy. That stuck out to me.
Can I say
that to you?
Can I just say? Let me just say one thing. Out of all the henchmen, I gotta say that guy was a brawler, and it was brutal. It was a brutal fight. While a short fight, right? Which, let's be honest, Keaton bested him by, doing the weird, gymnastics thing and grabbing his head and like flipping him into the bell tower. But I gotta say, that was a very well choreographed fight because it seemed very intense and just he was getting bloodied and it seemed like a brawler fight. You know what I mean? So I agree with that assessment. That Joker's henchman was definitely he was throwing the hands at the end for sure.
So let me ask this question to the panel real quick here, not to cut you off there, Clark. So we just talked about 89, and we just talked about Returns, right? I said Returns. You guys seem to be in agreement 89 there. So around the room real quick here, what was your favorite scenes? Because I think you kind of used the tower as yours there. So Spike, Clark, what was your favorite scenes in 89 Batman?
Hands down for me, I think one of the best scenes was obviously the opening scene where he's on the tower and he utters the famous line, "I'm Batman." Welcome, Dave O'Donnell. He says, "What about the 1966 Batman?" Anyone? Don't worry, we're going to talk about that alongside some of the other stepchildren.
And we can talk about that if you want to.
Alongside some of the other stepchildren. By the way, Dave O'Donnell. Anyone remember good old George Clooney? Hello. So we'll talk about that. But we want to go through the real great ones right first before we talk about the trashy ones.
So you're saying that the first scene was your not to cut you. The first scene, like when he says "I am Batman,"
scene, that's for me stood out. But
it's classic.
I will say equally when he came down from the right through the glass pane, and he got Vicky Vale and got into the Batmobile. Whoa. That cool. Freaking kicked things off. And when he fought the samurai guy in the alley, that whole scene was like, whoa, that was so cool. So that would be, so of course you said, give me one thing, and you know me, I can't help myself. I gave you 3.
Well, let's find out from Spike if he took his choice here. Spike, what did you pick, man?
He didn't take mine, but you know what?
Excuse me.
Great ones. For me, the I'm Batman scene is legendary, so I don't even count that because I don't think that one surpasses.
Yeah, it's kind of like by default, right?
Exactly, by default. But 2 of my favorites, which
this is one. I gotta say mine. Let me at least.
I know, but
I back these panels where someone takes my answer, so just do one.
They're tied. It's so hard for me to choose. Okay, and
we'll choose one. If you had to take one with you, which I'm telling you, take one. Which one would it be?
Rooftop of the tower.
Okay.
Joker's getting his ass kicked, and he looks up at him and he says, "You idiot! You made me. You dropped me in that vat of chemicals." I don't think that was difficult to get. He said, "Don't think that was easy to get over. Don't think I didn't try."
Yeah, that was a good one.
That scene right there for me. Because Bruce has been waiting for years to get a hold of this guy. He knows who he is. He's pummeling him at this point. And Joker still is like Joker. Nicholson's there and he's arguing back at him. Like, you're mad at me, but this is your fault. You know what I'm saying? And Batman looks at him and goes, "I made you. You made me first."
That was a good one, yeah.
So that one for me, like, if I had to choose between the 2 that really stand out, that one was one of the ones I love. It's one of my most favorite scenes. Even though there's so many, but it's that one.
I'm going to actually get my pick. This is what happens when I ask a question, I go last. I never get my pick. But I get to do my pick. For me, I don't know how you guys missed this one here, but I love the Joker parade with the balloons and throwing all the cash out. And Batman comes scooping in with the Batwing and takes all the balloons up. But not only that, he takes the balloons out and then he goes all the way up past the clouds to the moon and his Batwing turns into the Bat Signal. That's just a cool scene. That's a cool scene.
Absolutely. I told you the movie's loaded with them, and that is a great one. Again, Joker again. He stole my balloons. He starts shooting his own guys.
Bob, your gun.
Yeah.
Poor Bob.
I love that
It's
scene.
Tons of them. That movie is loaded with them. And real quick, Batman Returns too. Let me say this, because I did, like I said, I kind of cut it a little bit, but I remember reading and hearing during that time that Burton got a lot of flack from the studios and had to cut a lot out of that movie and edit a lot. So we might have got a much better movie than what it actually was had they let him do what he initially set out to do with Batman Returns. And I also heard that's why he stepped away after Batman Returns and didn't do any more of the other films, because they wanted to go too campy and really kind of change his vision of what he was trying to do. So
Well, that part is true, but they actually gave him all the leeway he wanted, and that's why it became very goth. And it's not one of my favorites. I think the original stands out better for me. I think it's aging better for me than Batman Returns, only because Batman Returns is like this twisted carnival of just craziness centered around Christmas, which makes it even more batshit crazy. But I think it went so Burtonized that it alienated the audience, which is why it didn't do as well as Batman the original. So I think that's the reason why they went a different route, which of course we all know was a mistake, because we got a lot of bad Batman films before Nolan came to the rescue. But I am curious, Tank, what is your favorite?
I already told you it's the tower scene.
The tower scene, yeah. He was first.
Okay. Oh, he was first. I'm sorry.
He was first there.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, at the end, I think the biggest thing that takeaway for me is that this was one of those where, like, it depends on I personally think, what is your experience when you first saw it? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a huge factor, because, obviously I saw it in the theater. So did Spike, I believe. Right, Spike?
No, I saw it on video first.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I saw it on video
first. See, I saw it in the theater, so the excitement for the original Batman 1989 was electric. Again, in the Jackson Triple X on 82nd Street. That was like, it really, really was an amazing, experience.
I know. I can imagine that it was, Clark, but don't slight the home movie, because you made a good point. You mentioned that it went straight to video. It didn't have to go to rentals first, right? But most of the people that grew up like me, my parents never bought videos. Never.
Same.
We were rental kings. So the excitement building up around that time, and for everybody that's not old enough to remember, dude, video stores were like buying concert tickets or something at the time. Like, they would tell you 2-3 weeks ahead of time, this is the release date when we'll have the movie. And there would be lines. You had people going to different video stores for you, and everybody's trying to see who could rent the movie first to get it, because they only had so many copies.
Yeah, not just that. Remember, like, when you go into a rental store and they would have it in like a plastic sleeve with just the title on it there, but it's something they always reuse and all that. And if you get to that box and it's actually there, and you open up the thing and it's in there, you hit the lotto.
Yep.
You hit the lotto.
Because they would have that case in the front, the original casing, and then behind it would be the store's case, at least the Blockbusters and everywhere. And like you said, so if you grabbed it, you're like, oh, it's here, it's here. You run into the counter at this point, and you almost had to protect yourself, because those movies, even though you could only keep them for like 2 or 3 days at the most, new releases.
Oh, the late fees were crazy though. Late fees were ridiculous.
Bro. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was the cost of the whole movie. It was the cost of the whole movie.
Because you're gonna watch it as much as you can before you take it back. And like you said, sometimes you would just hold it. So it was super exciting, bro. So think about what you went through at the theater and how exciting it was, and then that anticipation afterwards for everybody for video, and if you wanted to go see it again on home video. So it was like a double whammy that I don't think even DVDs, definitely not streaming, but I don't even think DVDs had that kind of a pickup like that it was to just go do the rentals.
Right.
The rentals were unbelievable.
That was like an experience. I remember, for all my New York folks that are on the chat room, I remember going to Astoria Boulevard, going to the Astoria Video Store. This is the mom and pop store, Astoria Video, renting a movie on a Friday night with the family, and just like, it was an event. Like, if you had cable, which we did not, if you had cable and if you had, if you had a VCR at the time in the early 80s, mid 80s, you were really doing something good there. But I mean, once it all started becoming mainstream, and Blockbuster, which I worked at Blockbuster at one time, rest in peace, Blockbuster Video. But there was a lot of fun times renting movies. I miss those times. I really do.
Man, I'm telling you, man, you bond with a lot of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of bonding, everyone in this panel, as well as in the chat room, they may not have bonded with Batman Forever or the vile Batman and Robin. But let me tell you something. When Christopher Nolan, a very untested director, came out and he brought Batman back with Batman Begins, and of course, what is considered probably the greatest comic book film ever made, arguably, The Dark Knight. Let's remember what we got today, I think, is in part because Christopher Nolan came in and brought us back on track with a Batman that was fresh, different, grounded in reality. And let me tell you, it was sensational. But just to give everybody a reminder, let's go back to when The Dark Knight came out. And I'm going to play this trailer to The Dark Knight. And let's all remember the greatness of this movie. So, ladies and gentlemen, The Dark Knight.
Where do we begin? A year ago, these cops and lawyers wouldn't dare cross any of you. I mean, what happened?
So what are you proposing?
It's simple. Kill the Batman. Here's my card.
Bruce, this is Harvey Dent.
Rachel's told me everything about you.
I certainly hope not. You once told me that we'd be together. Did you mean it?
Bruce, don't make me your only hope for a normal life.
You're Alfred, right?
That's right, sir. Any psychotic ex-boyfriends I should be aware of?
Oh, you have no idea. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're tonight's entertainment. Well, hello, beautiful. You look nervous.
I've seen now what would have to become to stop men like him.
The night is darkest just before the dawn. I promise you, the dawn is coming.
And here we go. Come on. This city deserves a better class of criminal. I'm gonna give it to him. No! You'll see. I'll show you.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You're not skipping Batman Begins.
Oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. They can hear us. Here we go. Should we get the Batmobile? Blah, blah, blah.
Much more subtle.
Okay, we'll get the Ferrari. All right, we're back, guys. Listen. This is we do everything freestyle here. Okay, this is not we're not on Entertainment Tonight here. Okay, so let's not think. But of course not. We're not gonna listen. We're gonna talk Christopher Nolan, Batman, the series. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. Danny, lead the charge. Tell us what you loved about the Batman trilogy from Christopher Nolan, starring Christian Bale.
Well, I mean, where do I begin? I mean, listen, without the Dark Knight trilogy, like you already said, we would not be getting these versions of Batman moving forward. At the time, I did not believe anything can top this. And part of me still doesn't believe you can, because it was that good. Aside from Dark Knight Rises, it was near perfect. And so many people acknowledge, I mean, whether you're a Marvel fan or DC fan or into any other properties, I think we all agree, like, the Nolan trilogy is the pinnacle of what a comic book franchise can be. I mean, to start with it, first of all, Batman Begins is hands down the best Batman story ever put on film. No question. That origin story was incredible. And The Dark Knight, when that came out, it blew every expectation you can have. We've talked about Heath Ledger's controversy, and I was one of those people. If I wasn't lazy, I would have wrote a letter like they did in '89. But I was lazy, so they didn't hear from me. But I yelled at anybody who I talked to about that movie. And when obviously you hear the sad news about the passing of Heath Ledger at a fortunate time, you know The Dark Knight is, only a few months away from being released. So you kind of, obviously out of respect for Ledger and his family, you kind of back off on your personal feelings about a fictional character. But then to see that movie and see what he transformed into, and it was 100% believable. It was 100% uncharted area for a villain in a comic book film. I mean, he truly was, and I mean, call it is, I guess you can say too, but he was like the best Joker we've ever gotten. And I'll include all the ones that came afterwards. Like, the bar was set with Ledger. He was so darn good that, quite frankly, like, it's going to be hard to beat him there. I personally would choose him over Joaquin Phoenix's version. I know they both won awards for the same one, but Ledger did it first. And I don't think, if Ledger didn't crack the code on how to play a maniacal, evil Joker, people would still be trying to figure out that character today.
I mean, that's
you guys there. Okay,
deep.
I just want to make sure.
No, listen. You had us at hello.
Listen, I'm grown this time with the release of this movie's here. 2005. I mean, I was what? I was a grown man. Well, at least in my eyes, I thought I was a grown man. But I was old enough to know what's going on and watch it. I went through Batman Forever, which, underrated. It is not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. I think Val Kilmer was a very serviceable Batman. Batman and Robin, if you want to talk about that, I can't say nothing. It was exactly what you said it is. But I got all the action figures. I didn't care. They were dope. And I got the McDonald's mugs. You remember the McDonald's mugs that they did?
Yes, sir. I had all four of them.
I had my parents go to McDonald's almost every day after school and make sure I got one. And when they didn't have it in stock, they would literally talk to the guy like, when's it coming in? Because my kid will drive me nuts until I get it. I had every single one, too. So, but yeah, I mean, this is the first time that a Batman movie flopped. So we had a gap of about almost 10 years between, Batman and Robin, Batman Begins, the beginning of the Nolan trilogy, and this was the perfect time to reinvent themselves. Mm-hmm. Batman, that is, the franchise itself. So, we had the gothic world of Burton, and we got the ultra-realistic version with Nolan. And I think for the time, I think it's exactly what Batman needed. Kind of the way James Bond had a hiatus from, the Pierce Brosnan days with the wacky gadgets and people kind of over that. And then you get into this more serious tone Daniel Craig version, which, by the way, was inspired by Nolan's trilogy as well. And that's the thing. It also inspired so many other franchises out there. Kind of the way The Matrix kind of did something with bullet time. And every movie for 5-6 years had slow-mo bullet action, right? But with this one here, you took a fictional character and you put him in the real world. And it's never been done before. And how it was so smartly written, how it had a message in each one. Each movie had a specific message. The first message was about conquering your fears. The second one was dealing with chaos with the Joker. I mean, this is the movie you're going to get me to talk too much about. So if someone wants to jump in and get in some thoughts, I'm probably going to say them all. So I'll shut up right now and let somebody else talk, because now you're in my wheelhouse.
I got you, man. I feel you. Hey, listen, you hit the nail on the head with Nolan trilogy and beginning with Batman Begins. I give a lot of credit to Sam Raimi and because it helped studios to see that if you made a film dedicated to adults, more or less around the 18 to 30 fan base, you would still make money. The difference between the two is that Spider-Man was still lighthearted enough that you could bring kids to, no question. But Nolan absolutely set the trend and the foundation for what we have for our comic book films and quality films moving forward. That trilogy did place Batman in the real world. It made him even more relatable. It gave him real world problems. It humanized a lot of what you did with where you felt like you were watching an actual film or being a part of it, not necessarily watching a comic book character. You felt like you were looking at a rich man who had been through a lot, who trained and honed their skills and abilities at that early point in his life to truly help the citizens of Gotham. And he did it in such a way that it was almost effortless. The casting was great. You know, people knew Christian Bale from American Psycho and a few other little things, but Bale was awesome in that movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was awesome. You have your textbook Liam Neeson, who's just a legend in his own right, you know, in so many different films. He just gives an amazing performance. I still love Darkman, but that's a whole other story. You know, it's just everything was placed in the right place. It was cast right. It was, you know, gripping. It was the tools. And for me personally, who's the only person with any sense on this panel, if you say anything otherwise, it has the best Batmobile, period. The Tumbler in this movie, in this trilogy. The Tumbler reigns supreme. I don't care what anybody says.
Now, hold on. The Tumbler is not a Batmobile. It's a tank.
That's
we should have said that. Hey, we don't have a tumbler, but we have a tank.
They're merged. Here's why.
Thanks, Danny. Okay. I'm gonna have to hear that every goddamn.
Think about this. We're talking about young Batman. Batman Begins. He's still learning his way, right? You see him talking to Lucius Fox. He's learning about R&D at Wayne and different things that he can do as he's stumbling and bumbling his way. Because for him to be a smart guy, he's learning a lot of stuff the hard way. Oh, I got bit by a dog. I might want to cover that. You know, oh, I got beat up this way. Maybe I need to check this out. So he's really getting effed up out here, okay? But what I love about the Tumbler is it's a small detail, but Nolan hits it. He's young. He's not thinking about sleek or fast. He gets excited about destruction. This thing can go through anything. I can go through snow. I can go through water. I can go through walls. I can blast crap. You're going to have a hard time hitting me. It's very immature. And that's what I like about it. Because think about it. Batman later is probably thinking, I'm going to pay to rebuild the city I keep tearing up. Maybe I need a car that has some handles. Maybe I need something I can loot and get away with. Not blow up half the city trying to get one guy. You know? So I love that aspect of the Tumbler because I feel like it's an immature vehicle for a learning Batman, an early Batman that's developing and learning what he should and should not be doing, and it fits the mold of what you see in that trilogy. So it for me, and I just like it being massive as well. It is a tank, but on top of that, Nolan captivates all of those little nuances that you see in Batman as he grows and he learns in these trilogies. And like you said, The Dark Knight just reigns supreme as a superior film. I think that Ledger actually did the world a favor as far as anybody that ever wants to play the Joker, because he's at Ali status now, Muhammad Ali. You don't even try to be him, okay? You get to make the Joker your own at this point, because I don't think anybody will ever top that performance. You lose yourself in that film in the way he plays that role, where you really do believe you're seeing a psychotic maniac, not a comic book character at all. That dude was in a whole nother mind, and he literally carried the whole film. Not that the film was bad, but he made everybody else's job easier. All you had to do if you were in a scene with him was follow his lead. He was just that good. Even for the little guys that had very small speaking parts, it was easy to feed off of him and where he was going. Just like with the pencil trick, with the mob and everybody else, little things. So Nolan captures all of this with Ledger and really just draws you in with these quality films and bringing Batman to a forefront in a place, like building off of what we saw with Burton, staying dark but humanizing him in the real world aspect of it. And like I said, beyond that, you got to remember, I think 2008 was Dark Knight Returns. right around the time Iron Man.
2005 was Batman Begins.
Yep,
08 was Dark Knight, and 2012 was the last one.
Right. So think about it. 08 Dark Knight Returns. Iron Man comes out in 08. Marvel builds off of that. They see that momentum of those two films and that trilogy and everybody thereafter. The MCU absolutely took cues from the Nolan and how they incorporated their characters into the real world and which way they wanted to bring them and grow upon that. So, yeah, he's absolutely responsible for that, and it paved the way for all these quality films we have thereafter. You know, so kudos to them for this. Like I said, fantastic.
I just think...
Oh, no, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
I was just going to add on to what Spike was saying. I just love how they just had a reason for everything that not only Batman did, but the gear he wore. You know, they grounded. It was a military grade suit. It wasn't like, oh, hey, make me the suit. Like, we had this. It was too expensive. The army passed on it. That's great. That's great for Batman. That's perfect for him. I only need one. And then just like, the gauntlets that he has on his arms there. Those were given to him by the League of Assassins from Ra's al Ghul's training. That's awesome, And then obviously the cowl he put together at some point, but the cape had a reason for it there. I mean, it was like the first cape that wasn't leather and it just didn't look cool. Like no, it was a velvety material, and the reason why is it can catch air and stuff like that, and he can actually glide with this thing. So
static charge and everything. Yeah.
Exactly, with the static electricity going through the cape. Exactly. That is like so methodically thought out. Like literally you haven't put a word on script, but you have an entire story just off your suit alone. And then you throw in the fact that we're actually finally seeing what happens after what happens to Martha and Thomas Wayne dying for the 40th time. Well, I embellish, but obviously, every single movie you've seen them die, but you never see what did Bruce do after they passed away. What did he do? And he went through kind of like a Jesus complex in a way, where he went away for a few years, he came back, and then he became Bruce Wayne, Playboy billionaire, excuse me, and oh yeah, I'm also the Batman at nighttime. So I thought that was, I just think that Nolan was so smart with every decision he made on it there, and not just him, obviously his brothers well too helped with writing the movie. But I just think that every little detail is what makes that trilogy the best trilogy for any comic book series ever, because everything was well thought out. I think 2012's The Dark Knight Rises is probably a little bit of fatigue and like, how do we top the last one? But aside from that there, if we were just looking at the first two, that's 2 10 out of 10 movies right there. You just can't beat them.
Well, I definitely think you definitely don't top The Dark Knight. That is just one of those lightning in the bottle moments where you have a collision course of a tragedy of an amazing actor, rest in peace, Heath Ledger, who he does a sensational performance of a lifetime. And then you have the fact that people were clamoring for this Dark Knight movie. This was like Batman Begins created the bridge and fixed all of the mess that was left with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And Dark Knight really propelled it to the stratosphere. One of the things I did want to bring up, and I know you brought up the Tumblr, which I do have a scene right there, and I'm playing the music in the background because I wanted to get that whole feel in there. But one of the things I will say is that you absolutely cannot, take away the fact that the Bat cycle is freaking badass. I just wanted to throw that out there because let me tell you, I loved it.
You're right about that. And also another little point of Nolan that you don't get with a lot of directors, the Bat cycle is real. It really does work. He made a point that every vehicle had to actually work. They built them from scratch, things that did not exist to build that cycle. And he actually had to learn how to ride that thing, Christian Bale, around the city and everything for it to go. Now, true, that wheel trick that it does to turn is a little bit different in CGI, but that bike does work. And so you can see some of that in the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, they did practical, a lot of practical effects. Of practical effects.
So that bike. Listen, dude, come on, write the Tumblr. We'll go from here once Tank has his turn because I know I've been running with the mouth, but we got to double back.
Not just you.
Vehicles. We got to do a vote and see whose vehicles.
I'm a Mike hog. I'll admit that. So I've never been shy to say that. But no, listen, you guys are the Batman like extraordinaire connoisseurs, so we want to get your feedback on it, obviously. But Tank, I am curious. You had grown into your own. You were, you grew up and you were like no longer a wee lad, but how old were you when the first Batman Begins came out, and what were your initial thoughts there? Also, you were very disappointed by Superman Returns.
Oh, Brandon Routh, yeah, he's heartbroken.
Let's stay focused, gentlemen. One at a time. One at a time. Go ahead, Tank. I'm sorry.
So what year did it come out again?
05.
5, so 2002, 3, 4.
We do math on the side on House of Fandom.
Right. We're figuring things on the spot here, guys.
I was in my 20s because I was 18 in 2002, so I was like somewhere in my 20s when it came out. No, like I said, I really enjoyed Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises. It's another story, but definitely enjoyed Begins and Dark Knight. But I mean, like I said, Bale is he's not my favorite Batman. I do have issues with his Batman. His Bruce Wayne is really good because he actually does 3 different Bruce Waynes. He does the Playboy. Oh, sorry, he does 3 different characters. My bad. He plays Batman, Playboy, Bruce Wayne, and then regular tortured Bruce Wayne. Which we didn't really see that like one thing I rewatching it with Keaton, I was like, how did no one especially in the first one, like no one knew who Bruce Wayne was. Like Knox did not know who Bruce Wayne was.
Very strange.
Like I heard, when I was talking to Spike, he made sense for there. But Knox being a reporter, him being Bruce Wayne and pretty much the richest person in Gotham, didn't become a factor until maybe in Returns, and it was still not even that big of a factor. But it never came up. Him just being Bruce Wayne never was a thing. Was never a thing.
Horrible at his job. You know that, Tank.
Yes.
He didn't even know who his boss was.
Yeah, but just just like you said, Danny, that is his whole origin storyline with his parent. The opening up with his parents passing. Him, them showing him in his early 20s, trying to just fight people, he hadn't really been trained before, and then getting beat up, and then going up to the League of Assassins with old Liam Neeson's,
right,
which was a very understated role. I thought he did a very good job in that role.
Oh yeah.
Although I don't think he was Ra's al Ghul, but that's a whole other debate.
He was Ra's al Ghul. Get over it.
You don't look like Ra's al Ghul, but we'll leave the appropriation part for the others.
He had the goatee. He was good enough.
I'm not going to fight with the not comic book reading knowing person about what people are supposed to look like.
Oh, wow, this one over here. We bring back Danny, and then he starts getting fresh. I mean, come on, jeez.
I was fresh. I've been fresh for the last couple of times.
That's true. You have been cranky. Yes, that's true. But go ahead. You were saying.
But yeah. So yes, I mean, I loved. I won't say the Tumbler's not a bad vehicle. It's just not my favorite.
No, it's not. Yeah,
I didn't say that. So that's what.
I'll give you guys that credit on that.
You want to know what the best Batmobile is? Real quick. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna say it real quick.
No, I said I wanted y'all to do it.
Batman the animated series. That's the best Batman. That's Batmobile.
That one again. That's legendary.
The animated series counts. I will fight you next time I see you. Listen, the animated series counts.
Nothing will touch that car. That is a badass car. You can't even use that one. We already know that one's kick-ass. Give me one out of the movies. Give me one out of the movies. You can choose all of the 4. You can do Batman and Robin 2, okay. Batman Returns.
What are you talking about those?
No, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Ben Affleck's Batmobile then.
Ooh.
I like that one better because it kind of reminds me of the games.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
But
better than the Superman one. No, some of the other one. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But one thing I really did enjoy both, with the Batman Begins and Dark Knight was Bruce and Lucius Fox's relationship. Like how he never said I'm Batman, but it's like Lucius says, just you don't have to tell me everything. Just don't play me like an idiot.
Yeah.
This thing's like, I know who you are. I know what you're doing. We don't have to say it. I'm not going to snitch.
I know there's some shenanigans going on here.
You know what, Tank? You got a good point, because think about it. When he told him, he said, the way I see it, all this stuff is yours anyway.
Yeah.
You own the company, so come get it.
Yeah. I just like the first thing, like, what do you need to do? Like, what are you going to do? Like, spelunking. Like, what is that?
Right.
And why would Bruce Wayne be doing it?
These people do. These when they jumping off of rocks and stuff.
Yeah. I always say, I forget. I always forget that because we didn't get more of Jeremy Irons. He's probably this one is my favorite Alfred.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we would have got the Affleck trilogy, Jeremy Irons might have been able to get on the same level if we would have saw more of his Alfred. But I'm not. But I can't say that after him getting being in 2 movies.
Well,
I can't.
Let me just
because he captivated us in that little bit of time.
Before we delve into Batfleck, because we are going to real quick. I mean, not real quick. We're definitely going to close it out with Batfleck. We got to talk about that. But I do want to know, when you think about the 3 films, Tank, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. Out of all those 3, does The Dark Knight stand up hands and obviously above the rest to you as well?
Yeah, I was going to get to The Dark Knight before you trying to cut me short.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We were getting there.
Yeah. Finally get to talking. He wants to cut me short.
That's true. It's a rare.
He talks all damn show. I start talking a little bit longer than he wants. He has to cut me off.
Yeah. Well, all right. You're right. You know what? I'm sorry. Tank, I apologize to you. Please.
Sick of this. Anyway, so go to The Dark Knight. No, Dark Knight was amazing. It opened up great, with all the clowns and each one, we all knew one of them was the Joker, but not knowing which one was, and they're just all slowly killing each other, saying, "I was told to kill you. I was told to kill you. I was told to kill you." And then, like I said, just like I always said, like I was in the same boat where I was like, "There's no way Heath Ledger's going to be a good Joker." Then I was happily told wrong. You led to it before the pen scene. That was that whole scene, like the pen scene. Then him like saying the Asian, I can't remember the Asian guy who was like the guy who was taking all the money.
Lau.
He was like,
it was Lau.
Lau. He was like, he's a talker. They're going to get him to talk. And the second he got taken, they didn't have to do nothing. They didn't have to do nothing. They just said you can just go back home, and he snitched right away. Immediately. But yeah, I mean, they're 2 different Jokers, so I don't always like to try to compare them because they are different Jokers. But rewatching it, I would say I do enjoy watching Ledger's Joker more than Nicholson's.
I agree with you. I mean, listen, Heath Ledger did an amazing job. I agree with that. That's a great assessment.
Yes. Let me say this too, man. I think Dark Knight Rises gets a bad rap because it had to follow The Dark Knight. Yeah. It's not a bad movie, man. It was a good movie. It's a little longer than it needs to be. Like, I think they could have trimmed the fat on it a little bit more.
Get ready for 3 hours.
Seriously. But the Tom Hardy was awesome in that movie, and there's a lot of good cues and things in there. And I think if it were switched, where Dark Knight Rises actually was the second in the trilogy, that a lot of people would have actually enjoyed the movie a lot more than they did. Like I said, it is long, and you need to trim it up a little bit. There's some other areas you could clean up in that movie, but it wasn't horrible. But trying to follow up The Dark Knight was really, really difficult, And truth be told, I will say this. Hardy definitely saved the movie. I didn't like old beat-up Bale as Batman. I did like the guy that reminds me of Dick Grayson. Who's the little guy from Third Rock from the Sun? He was
Jordan or Gordon Levitt, something.
Yeah, Gordon. Yeah,
it's Gordon Levitt. It's Gordon Levitt.
Gordon Levitt, yeah.
That guy. He's a good actor. I like him. I would love to see him play McGinnis in Batman Beyond, but he's probably too old now. But anyway, I just want to say that because I didn't think Dark Knight Rises was a horrible movie. Like I said, like a lot of films, yeah. And Danny, you hit the nail on the head when you said fatigue. I think everybody was truly tired at that end and trying to get some things together. But it was still a good movie. I've rewatched it a few times, and like I said, other than the fact that it runs a little longer, not because I can't sit there, but there's scenes that you feel like really shouldn't be there as much, or are a lot longer than they should be. But other than that, I still think it's a good movie. That's just me. What about you guys?
Yeah, no, it's a solid movie. But it's just, again, it was burdened with expectation that it just, unfortunately, with the excitement. I mean, I remember thinking about the sequel to Dark Knight after I saw it, like right after the movie finished, and it took years to do it because keep in mind, Nolan did Inception in between that there. Yep. Another amazing movie. Still one of my favorite movies too.
Same.
That's when I knew this guy was the real deal. No, stop you. Stop. Put baby in the corner. He said overrated.
Can't understand it. Very confusing. All right, fine.
Don't like it.
Listen, I have my opinion. You have yours. That's that.
Bad opinion. But anyway. But still, all the same, like, he took a break from that there. I mean, he was doing stuff, outside of the franchise. And obviously, there was every time they were asking him to come back to do this, let's finish this. And Warner Brothers didn't want to upset the Golden Goose because they realized they had a hell of a director on their hands. So it was always the idea was like, whenever he's ready to come back, that's when we'll do it and stuff like that. And for me, what stinks about the Nolan trilogy, if there's any one critique I can give it there, is that, in this trilogy, Batman pretty much retired after 3 years. Once the Dark Knight ended and he took on that burden, I was under the assumption when we get to the next movie, he was still carrying on his mission, not becoming a hermit. And then suddenly, hey, I've got this magical knee brace, and I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to go back out there and act like I was fighting crime 5-7 years ago, like I did. But you just walked into Bane, and Bane just broke your back. And don't get me started on the fact that Bruce Wayne suddenly had Superman healing abilities in that prison, where he can suddenly break your whole damn back, do a couple push-ups, someone snaps it back into place, and let me climb up this crazy. I mean, so there was a lot of stuff where you just had to I got a bad back. I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't no way I'm climbing up that thing.
You're not Bruce.
Yeah, I didn't get my back broken either. I got like mild back pains, but that's it. My man had a whole back broken. Okay, and he got on a flight to some desert, so that's not good for your back either.
Man, there's a natural healing, man. He got natural prison healing.
You know that mattress they put in that prison was not orthopedic.
That's what helped his back. Sleeping on that soft bed messed him up, bro.
Be quiet, bro. He jumped from one ledge to the other. All right, that's the most amazing rehab I've ever seen.
I will say this: the one thing I did hate about that, to your point, is everybody with any kind of common sense, and I hate that Nolan did this, knows that rope would have ripped through his body at that jump when he missed. And
I didn't even think about that. That's right.
That height.
That's right.
The moment I saw that in that movie, I was like, it would have been better for him to free fall to his death than for that rope to hit him, because it literally would have ripped clean through him. Anybody that knows physics knows this. I mean very basic.
And he didn't have any setbacks with the back either. Like, he legitimately, all right, I'm going to do a couple more push-ups, and I'm going to give it another shot. Like, what now? I mean, it's just like...
These are what I'm talking about.
I thought you loved this, Sacred Cow. You guys are really getting in there, aren't you?
Listen, we're talking about part 3. I've been very clear, part 1 and 2. But when we got to this one, I was going to be like, listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Batman fan.
Really going to take off the gloves, right?
Look, I mean, the story was solid. Bane was really good. I don't think he should have been the main villain of that one. He's always been a side villain, in my opinion. Catwoman was decent.
Ra's al Ghul returning would have been a great.
I think that would have been a great coming full circle kind of thing. I agree. I think it.
Talia, because Talia's dope. Oh, girl that played her is a good actress, but she's not a good Talia.
No.
Nah.
She's not a good Talia. I would have rather seen her play Rachel. Then Maggie Gyllenhaal. She would have been great for Rachel or something like that.
No, I like the choices for Maggie.
Too
and
exotic. Yeah, too exotic for
Yeah.
Rachel Dawson. Sorry, I don't see it.
Rachel, no. What you call it was good, Rachel. What's her name? Joey Potter.
Yeah, she was good.
She was good, but not Maggie Gyllenhaal. That was no.
Wait.
I think she was good.
Wait. Who's Joey Potter? Wait. Excuse me. Who's Joey Potter?
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek, man.
Tom Cruise.
Okay, what's her real name?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, at least
Joey
you
Potter.
because nobody knows what Joey Potter. I'm
her
sorry.
name?
I don't want to wait for your life to be over.
Knocked me down too. I didn't like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
Ooh.
Michelle Pfeiffer was just like
Hated it.
you can't touch Michelle Pfeiffer.
I mean, was she really Catwoman, or was she just really just some thief that was?
Been anybody. I could have probably dealt with her with red hair trying to play an Ivy better than I could Catwoman. She was not sexy enough for Catwoman. She was, and that's no shade to her because I like her as an actress. It just wasn't a good fit. I think it was more of a name thing because she was hot, and I mean by hot is like her name around Hollywood at the time. She had some movies and things going on, but
wasn't that like Art the Devil of Prada or whatever?
But yeah. It was Prada and a couple other things. She's a good actress. I like her work. She just didn't fit that role.
She was serviceable, but she didn't make it anything special.
Yeah, I
think that's what we're
agree.
trying to say.
Right.
Halle Berry is a sexy woman, but Halle Berry was a horrible Catwoman.
Yeah.
It's not,
She's
Well,
a horrible actress.
I think. What did you say? She's a horrible actress.
She's a horrible actress. She's overrated, bro.
I'm sorry. You're talking about Academy Award-winning actress Halle Berry.
Do we really need to get into that movie?
Okay, but the
'Cause we
movie
all-
was bad.
We all know the reason why she got the Academy Award.
we know the bad. All right, I'm not even gonna. That's a whole other story.
I'm just saying, name a good Halle Berry movie aside from the Academy Award. She can rest on our table right now. Name one.
Boomerang.
I can name several. She did
Who
very.
said Boomerang?
Well,
Boomerang?
listen, she did an amazing job. She did a great job in Storm as Storm. I thought she did a really good, admirable job considering that it was almost like a one-note character. So she made it her own. But listen, we're losing track and we're running out of time because we gotta get to Batfleck. But before we do that, let's close out the Dark Knight trilogy. Obviously, you guys have your favorites there. We know the Dark Knight stands heads and tall amongst everything. It is probably considered the best comic book movie ever made, arguably. Yes?
I will leave it at Bruce Wayne, played by Christian Bale, was the best Bruce Wayne we've had so far.
Okay. All right. I think I agree with you with that. I although I have not seen Robert Pattinson as Batman, you have. So I guess we'll to be continued for next week.
Mike's on a panic attack here.
Hold on. Before you go any further, Tank, do you agree with Danny just said?
With what?
Christian Bale's the best Bruce Wayne we've seen.
Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne, yeah. Because it's the same thing with we didn't get enough of Batfleck to judge.
Exactly.
He made his mark in those little.
He had the potential, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm biased.
I can't judge someone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be first.
I can't judge that because he didn't even have a full, it wasn't have a full just Batman movie. He was Batman. He was Batman and Superman then in Justice League. I can't judge.
Got a whole lot of Henry Cavill as Superman, but you judge that.
Yeah, he got a whole movie.
No,
he got a whole movie.
No, he did. That was like an excerpt, man. It's like a long commercial.
Man of Steel is a whole movie.
It's like a long commercial.
Listen. We're losing track, guys. We understand you guys have a lot of haterade because clearly Superman it gave Batman a beating, which we'll talk about.
A second here, though. Stop that. We're not going to talk about it.
Don't worry. I got the clip queued up. I got the clip queued up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You would.
Of course I would.
Anyways, Martha. Anyway, look. Spike. Then just say flat out though. Who do you think is the best Bruce Wayne?
No, I got you guys. You got me 3-1 on the vote, but
I would like to know your answer.
Well, tell us your opinion. Yeah.
I still feel like it's Affleck. I'm dead serious. I feel like
oh wow
balance between
that's That's
But
his
also-
opinion. That's okay. That's
I will
fine.
say this: I'm not knocking you guys because I do recognize that I can be biased. The Dark Knight Returns Batman, the older Batman, not the Christian Bale movie, but when we talk about comic books and everything, has always been my favorite. That's technically who Batfleck is based off of, and we'll go into that a little bit more. But for me, he's the perfect balance between the two. Out of all we've seen, some of them were better Bruce Wayne, but not a good Batman. Some of them were better Batman, but not Bruce Wayne. You know, I feel like Affleck fit both perfectly. Height, body, charisma, you know, how he carried himself, his character, everything. But that's just me. So that's why I said,
all right.
You're not wrong with that there. I've actually said that before on this show too. I've said it like, I thought Keaton was the better Batman. I thought Christian Bale was the better Bruce Wayne. And I thought that Ben Affleck, I've said it many times. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Same thing. I feel like Kilmer was a better Bruce Wayne than
Kilmer
Batman.
was solid too. Kilmer was a very solid Bruce Wayne as well. No doubt about it.
To be better. I like Val Kilmer.
He had a little charm to him. He was a little funnier.
He did. Yes, he did. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, we could agree that we thought that overall the trilogy of the Nolan Batman trilogy, Christian Bale, was an amazing addition. It saved really comic book movies in that they were taken seriously again, and I think that we can all agree on. Yes,
absolutely.
And we know its place, and I think that Marvel owes a debt of gratitude to DC because of it. Whether anyone wants to admit that or not, Nolan really set the pace and set the standard, the gold standard for what was to come. Now,
absolutely.
With that, let's kick things off with Batfleck to close the show out, right? And then, of course, we have Danny, who's going to give us a sneak preview of what his thoughts, initial out of the theater thoughts are on the new Batman, The Batman with Robert Pattinson. But before we do that, all right, we're going to play this beautiful clip here. Excuse me, Tank wanted me to play this beautiful clip here, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm really super excited about it. So let me start off, and guys, feel free.
I know
to
what he's
talk.
gonna do.
Feel free to talk. Feel free to talk while we're playing the clip. I'm gonna actually. I want you guys to talk while we're playing the clip. So let's look at when Superman meets with Ben Affleck's Batman, and he gives him and he gives him a beating. All right, so here we go. So we've got Ben Affleck right now. I don't know if you guys are seeing it yet, but Ben Affleck is he's basically ensnaring Superman into a trap, right? Well, right. Let me tell you, Superman is getting annoyed at this point because he basically has some sort of like weird thing bothering him or with his ears or whatever. But he's giving him an ass whipping right about now. Okay, so check this out. I love this part here when they meet up together and he throws his ass right to the ground about a football field away. So there we go. All right, so that's that. Now let's talk about this. The Batfleck. It came in Batman versus Superman. Batman v Superman. I got to be honest with you. I thought that he did a very good job as Batman. I thought he did very good job as Batman when directed by Zack Snyder. So I want your guys' opinion on that.
I'll go first. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I think Zack Snyder really enjoyed filming Batman a lot compared to his time filming Superman. I also feel like since Batman is so popular and so amazing, that it only makes sense that why Henry Cavill hasn't gotten a sequel to his own franchise.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. Like when we see a clip like this second clip that I'm playing right now, right? So this second clip here shows Batman getting tossed across the actual building and he destroys the bat signal and he's really having a rough time because let's be honest here, if he didn't have that suit on, he'd be dead already. As Superman says so eloquently, put your ass down because if I wanted to, you'd be dead already. I gotta give it to Superman, and it's a little smoky little thing that he's doing there, magic parlor tricks and everything. Oh, that's fine and good. But I gotta give it to Superman. He gave him
fucking joke. This is
a beating.
Let me
So
ask.
that's
you this
all I want to
question.
say. I
If
just wanted to bring.
Superman
I
is-
just wanted to bring that up. That's all.
If he's really everything you guys say he is, there would be no need for Batman to wear this suit. Superman is a bully. Batman met him out in the cold and in the rain to tell him about Doomsday and kryptonite that he had found to try to help protect Clark / Kal-El. And what did Superman do? Shoved him 100 yards away. Then start throwing him into buildings and stuff like that. Like he's a bully from another planet.
Okay, so
that
let me get
Batman
this
needs to
straight.
put down.
Tank, please interject, good sir. But
Martha, take my mommy.
let me understand this correctly. He said, "Hey, Bruce." He was trying to reason with him. Tank, wasn't he trying to reason with him at first? Remember when he landed and he said, "Bruce, I need your help." Let's talk about that.
No,
Tank,
first
please
of all, he
interject.
was
Hold on.
talking to Batman.
I was
He was
speaking
talking
to
to
your
Batman.
brother. I was speaking to your brother. Tank, please answer the question.
I don't know what movie you're watching, but the issue is that Bruce Fleck, call him Bruce Fleck for right now, couldn't determine on his own that Superman was not a bad guy.
Hey,
'Cause
facts.
He just immediately thought that he was just a bad guy because he couldn't figure out that he was trying to. He was up against insurmountable odds in Man of Steel, so he couldn't do everything. And also, it's his first day, but Batman couldn't do the research to figure that out. So he just wanted to fight him without even actually talking to him.
That's bull.
And he didn't even listen to Alfred either. Alfred's like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Clark.
Hey,
Clark
hey guys,
straight up
time
threatened
out,
him.
time out. Hey, look at me, guys. Everybody look at me. Hey, I'm Clark Kent. I'm a news reporter.
Yes, you are.
Now I'm Superman. Okay?
How does he do it?
Where did Clark go? Where
You
Oh,
did
notice?
Clark go?
I love Tank. I love the deflection here.
Wait,
We're trying to give an You're
Oh,
trying to
he's
give.
back.
You're trying to
He's
articulate
back.
that obviously his motivation was it was a bitch move. I'm sorry,
Whatever.
a total B move. Okay, and
You saw Clark
he got his
threaten him.
ass kicked.
He threatened him. What
Superman
did he
gave
do?
him a beating. He lucky he didn't
walked-
die.
He walked right up on Batman. He clearly sees he's dealing with Batman, and what does he say? Bruce, wait. Yeah, I'm letting you know I know who you really are.
Yes.
He's threatening him.
Oh, whatever.
Can I just say one
So
thing?
when
Just time out.
Bruce-
I want to be sincere for a second. Hold on, 1 second. I'm sorry. I just got to get this out here real quick because I feel like I've been bamboozled into this show right now. I didn't know this was going to be an attack.
Oh, there's no
So-
attack. We're all friends here.
It's okay. But just remember this here real quick. After that clip you just played, and Batman smoked your boy with kryptonite, you know what we really learned about Superman? He can't fight. He can't fight. He got no skills. Once he lost his advantage, once he lost his strength, it was a wrap. Batman was doing roundhouse kicks in a full steel Batman get up.
Right, a
Rocking
full
him.
steel. Right. Oh, what did he say, Tank? A full steel get up. Because he needed a full steel get up. Because guess what? Bruce Wayne would have been dead once he pushed his ass.
Superman got beat up in a diner in front of Lois Lane.
Whoa, listen,
Funny
bro.
old
No,
lady.
that's not fair.
Funny
That's
old
not
lady.
fair. He lost his powers. He lost his
That's Danny's
powers.
point. That's Danny's
Okay.
point. And to show you how ungrateful he is, if we really want to go down this road, after he died because he couldn't complete the mission with Doomsday, who brought him back to life? Because it wasn't Lois. It wasn't Wonder
Flash.
Woman. It wasn't
Flash.
Flash.
Thank you.
It was fucking
Thank,
Flash.
thank you. Thank you,
It
Tank.
was
Fucking
Bruce.
Flash.
It was
Nah.
Bruce. Because
Bruce didn't do a
nobody
damn
else
thing.
wanted to do it.
Bruce didn't do a damn thing, just like that whole.
He didn't do nothing.
Just stood
Nobody
there.
wanted to do it. It
was Flash.
Bruce.
You know what he did? He wrote a check. He wrote a
It was
check to
Flash.
Martha's farm. He wrote a check. That's what he did.
Oh yeah, he also did do that. You're right. He brought
That's right.
Martha.
He bought
because
his
Superman's
mama a
broke
house.
ass.
So what? He wrote a check. Okay, he
got
got
off
his
the
money. He got his money, and he wrote a check. Okay, big deal. Superman
Both
saved
of
the
you
universe.
should be giving up thanks right now. Y'all should be bowing down now that we really getting into this.
Snore,
Batman actually
snore, snore.
Superman on multiple occasions. Okay, multiple occasions. He's a shit
Listen.
reporter. Okay,
And just so you know,
And
if his
jealous.
mom's name wasn't Martha and it was Megan, he'd be dead. He'd be dead right now.
Yeah, because
Be grateful.
Wait, what happened to that code of not killing people? Huh?
He didn't.
Just
He's
threw that
not
out the
a
window.
person. Superman's
This
an
is-
Threw that all out.
fair
Just threw
game.
that all out the window,
He's an
right?
alien. He's fair game.
Hello. He broke so many
Dude,
backs.
before
Yo,
that.
he stabbed the dude in the freaking warehouse. He flamethrowed someone into a shish kebab. What are you talking about? He didn't kill him.
Not
He had it
die.
coming.
He was alive when Batman left. What happens after that is not up to him, bro. They were
I
still
hate you
breathing.
so much.
Listen, hey,
If I walked
listen.
out there breathing, man, I don't know what
Listen,
happens.
John, listen.
so much.
For the viewers that are still with us, John, it's okay. It's all love. We're just giving each other a hard time. He's like, "Hey guys, calm down." And he's really worried here. We're gonna.
No,
we're
man,
gonna
this is what we do when we're not on the air, bro. And we do this in text, voice messages, back and forth at least once a week. You know,
absolutely.
he sends
But
me like 10
I'm
comments.
killing it with my meme. I'll be killing Spike with my meme.
But I did enjoy. I did enjoy when he threw his ass to the top of the roof and then basically threw him right off the roof, practically. So I'm playing that scene again because I just enjoy it. But
Can we just actually go away from the battle
Yes.
I wanted it. You be dead already. No BS, no bashing Superman. One of the coldest scenes, I talk about this all the time, but I've never seen Superman is actually when he comes back and he beats his statue. He's back on Wonder Woman. That is the coldest thing. I absolutely adore it. It's if you're not a fan of Superman, you would be after that scene. That's a beast move. Real talk. That is perfection. Snyder, cherry on top, brother. That was cool.
Yeah, and I'll give some Batman love, like the warehouse fight scene. That is probably the best. That's what I didn't mind Bale's fighting until that scene.
Facts.
When I saw that scene, then I was like, oh, Bale's fighting was horrible.
Listen, let me say, you got to admit that choreography was absolutely insane. And here's the thing, and this was to Tank's point, and you guys may not want to realize this, but he threw out all kinds of codes in this movie. In Batman v Superman, let's not forget when he had the Batjet and he was lighting up the entire cars that were on there, and when he had the Batmobile and he was like literally with machine guns killing people left and right, explosions, you name it, cracking heads, breaking backs.
You don't even have to go that far. I'm just gonna be real about it. The guy that he threw that crate into, when he shoots the cable into the crate, that dude died right then.
Without a doubt, he broke his back. Listen, as Mike Tyson would say, he broke his back.
My back.
He broke my back.
Did you go like head first into a?
He went head first, hyperextended. Hyperextended.
Well, the blood spatters.
Since we called the truce over here, might as well share with you guys this bad boy.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that there.
I mean, listen, the suit was very good. It was well made. I thought it was practical. I thought it was definitely, it highlighted him. But like, I think if anything, if Christian Bale was a more refined Batman, whereas Ben Affleck's character was a brawler and he was ferocious. Would you agree? Agree?
Yeah, I mean, this Batman was at his end. That's what it comes. And that's the thing. That's a beautiful thing about Batman. You can pick up parts of his life, his story, and put it to film any given time. I will say this here. I am super disappointed that we never got a real sequel to Man of Steel, because I'll be honest with you, I do like Henry Cavill. Yeah, I do like Henry Cavill.
I think we could all agree that Henry Cavill, which I have his picture queued up here because I had to give him some love.
Batman show.
Well, let's be honest. It was Batman v Superman, so you cannot talk about Batman v Superman.
You can't picture them together. They can't be in the same frame.
Oh, I have them in the same frame. Here you go. You want me to give him the same frame? I'll give you the same frame. There you go. He's in the same frame.
What I was gonna say is the biggest.
All right, there you go.
Not really. The biggest letdown, though, is the fact that we are not going to get a true Ben Affleck starring Batman movie. It's a darn shame, and it's okay. Batman will always live on. It's always gonna.
We still get him in the Flash. Yeah, but
Crew movie to really.
Yeah,
he's gonna be in there for like a quick second. I just have a feeling.
I think so too. It's probably going to be. I mean, if it's like Flashpoint, I can totally see it being like Flashpoint. How it's set up in the beginning, then he's gone. So,
More time with Bruce in this anyway.
well, it'll probably be Michael Keaton in this case. They're going to do some walking. I'm not too sure about that movie. I'm not 100% on board with it though. But I did hear Aquaman and Wonder Woman are going to be in it, so that makes me, because that's a great story. Flashpoint is a great story, great story. So, but you need certain elements for it to work, and with everything going on with Cavill, I just don't know. I got to see it first. I'm gonna hold judgment. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be bad or good. I don't see all the pieces there that would make this a real accurate portrayal of that comic there.
Finish your thought, Danny. I got a question for you guys. Go ahead, Danny.
Rock on. I'm good.
Would you rather see a Superman 2 with Cavill or an Injustice film with Cavill? Like Injustice, the video game.
I would say part 2, just because I feel like the story for Justice League was somewhat like Injustice. It's a little bit.
Okay.
At least the nightmare scenes in that movie.
Gotcha. Tank?
We need Brainiac.
Yeah, I need Man of Steel too, because the Injustice, another compilation with all the people. I need just a single Man of Steel with Henry Cavill. Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill. Give me It's like Danny said, give me Brainiac. That's what I need.
Clark?
Metallo is a secondary villain.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I really would have preferred to see a true, instead of Man of Steel 2, call it what it was, Superman. His acceptance in this world as the Man of Steel, Superman. Well, who we all have grown to love, and that true character's essence be realized in a feature film that was actually, the stakes were high, and he truly, was the beacon of hope that the character was created for.
Villain?
Hey, what are you saying? So you don't want a Henry Cavill sequel? I don't understand what you mean by that.
No, I said
he wants Henry Cavill, but he wants it to be called Superman. That's
correct. I wanted it to be the true.
He doesn't
Superman.
want. He doesn't want Man of Steel 2. He wants to.
I mean, call it whatever you want there. I mean, that's fine. I get it.
What villain? Real quick, what villain? So we can get back to Batfleck.
Honestly, I think the best way to accumulate this would be to bring a villain that is intergalactic. Would have been nice to have Brainiac. I would have loved to see Brainiac finally realized on screen.
Okay.
You guys almost got that with Tim Burton, ironically.
Oh, right. That's true.
With Nicolas Cage, that was going to be it.
I thought Nicolas Cage version was Kevin Smith.
What happened?
Smith was directing.
No. Kevin Smith was writing it, and then they fired him when Tim Burton came on. He was fired from the project. So that's what happened there. But I am curious, Danny. I know we talked about this, but I want you to take a look at the screen right now. This is Michael Keaton on the set of Batgirl. I wanted your thoughts on his look and the update of the suit. As you can see, the cowl can now move. He can move the cowl around. So what are your thoughts on this? I don't know if you've seen this photo yet, but this is
it finally popped up there. Stop right there. Yeah. You had a picture of Cavill and Ben Affleck. I was confused for a second.
Oh, right.
There, but,
I'm sorry. But yeah, what are your thoughts? That's Michael Keaton. I'm not quite sure if it's his stunt double or if it's actually Keaton, but this is not the hero suit. So for everyone that's wondering why it seems a little flimsy in the chest area, this is an actual stunt suit. But as you can see, this is the one that was publicized, because you can see the two things running to where the bat symbol is, and of course you can see a more broader. It almost looks like it's like some sort of armor that he's wearing on top. What are your thoughts there?
It's interesting. These like photos that you see behind the scenes, snapshots, not official, and all that stuff, they're hard to really judge. Mm-hmm. They're really, really hard to judge because the final product usually varies drastically from when you see them in the film. So I've learned over years, especially with the Batman series, that it can be a little deceiving on these set photos here, and you got to really judge it based off the actual. But if I had to take an early look at this here, It's a little weird. It's a little weird. The cowl seems to be Batman Returns-esque, which is good. I like that. I don't like the bottom of the cowl where the cape and the cowl connects because you have these weird holes there. So I don't know if it's for they're gonna do a stunt scene where he's gonna repel or something.
Well, right. That's what I'm wondering too. But also consider the fact that the cowl is not attached to the actual shoulder piece, which allows him to the mobility that he did not have in the first one. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's a good observation as well too. It's too early to tell. I mean, it looks very plain. If I'm being honest, here, I don't see any detailing on the chest or the ab area there.
Right. Which I heard this is a stunt costume, so it could very well change. You know, and this is for Batgirl. This is not the Flash, so we may get the original costume in the movie Flash.
This is true. Yeah, I mean, it's too early to tell, but I mean, it is Keaton. There's a lot of curiosity with his return. How long he's going to stick around? God bless the man. He's like 70-something years old.
He looks great.
I just don't know how this is going to work. He does. He looks fantastic there. But honestly, if I had a choice, guys, since we're still talking Batman for one split second here, we should have already gotten Batman freaking Beyond. Keaton should have came back for that.
Well, I heard that
we should have got Terry McGinnis.
I hear.
Who do you have for McGinnis?
I heard we're having that it may be happening, and this is the Batgirl supposed to lead to that. So I'm confident that
it's all the way in the future. I don't know how that's gonna work, but
well, no, I mean,
for you, man.
Listen, he's filming the Batgirl. He's already filmed he's reprised his role in 2 films already. I can see them saying, "Hey, we're getting a Batman Beyond. It might be because this Batgirl is going to HBO Max. This is all happening at the end of this year, Danny. So to all the audience right now, we've got Flash, which is going to be Ben Affleck reprising his role as Batman, as well as Michael Keaton, and then we have Batgirl, which premieres on HBO Max, where Michael Keaton is going to be shown there. I don't know how big his role will be, but it's clear that, just so you guys know, in the same scene here that I had shown you guys a minute ago, you also see the actor who plays Gordon from the DCU, which he also plays Jameson in the Spider-Verse. What is the actor's name again? He was on Oz, the TV.
He was Jay Jameson, yeah.
Right. The actor's name, I'm trying to think of his name.
What is his name?
Great actor.
I know it. Yeah, I know his name. What's
like
his
initials?
Simmons. No.
Yeah,
no,
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, right. So J.K. Simmons is in, there's more photos, and I'll have to send it to you once the show's over. But the photos show him rescuing J.K. Simmons' character. So it's clear that this is related to the DCU, because we all know that he was that character in the Justice League. You know what I'm saying? And Batman v Superman. So I'm just very curious to see how this all pans out. But, you know, in speaking with Batman versus Superman, I think one of the highlights for me is the apocalyptic Batman, which I have the scene up and queued up. I really enjoyed that scene. I wish we would have seen a lot more of it. That to me could have been, I know you guys talked about, man, wouldn't that have been great to see Batfleck continue? That to me would have been nice. Post-apocalyptic Batman, you know, like getting a band of heroes that we got a little glimpse of with the Zack Snyder extra scene that they filmed for the Zack Snyder Justice League. Would you guys have wanted to see that?
Absolutely. Again, Batfleck is my favorite Batman. It was cool to see him look that way. That was a different look for Batman that I'm not used to seeing, but still gruesome, still intimidating, even though he's wearing a trench coat. You know, he's beat up, he's weathered, but, you know, it looks like a wasteland that they're in at that point. And I loved it. I was excited about the opportunity to see him go. I'm still one of those people that's reeling in disappointment that, you know, Affleck is moving on. I just feel like he was great for the character, for where Batman should be at this point. And, you know, that's just something that I'm going to have to live with at this point. But, yeah, I think that's a huge miss for the DCU, to be honest.
To be honest, I'm over it. I'm over it. Like,
Are you?
I'm over well, just because, you know, it feels like so. I mean, like yesterday, the way we talk about it, but I mean, Justice League came out in what 2017, 2018, something like that. 2017, I think.
Right.
It was 5 years ago.
November 2017. Yes.
Right. It was 5 years ago at this point, and it was this whole freaking drama about Whedon's cut and Snyder's cut, and to me, like now, I mean, we also have the Batman, which we'll talk about next week, right, when everybody has a chance to see it. I just feel like that ship has sailed. It's been talked about so much. It's going to be one of those things with Affleck. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things like what could have been, right? It had potential, but the one thing I can always say about Batman as a character on film will always persevere. There will always be more opportunities to tell more Batman stories. What I'm looking forward to in the future for Batman and where the Batman character is taken, I would love for a Batman to stay Batman more than 3 films. If you believe that's the record for most Batman films held by Christian Bale now, right? So Keaton had 2, Kilmer, Clooney both had 1 shot. I mean, I guess you can say Affleck had like 1 if you put BVS and Justice League together. I mean, I don't know if you can count that, but I want to see a Batman who goes from beginning as Batman to the father figure to the Batman family, and people like Nightwing are developed. You know, Batgirl like we have right now. It just seems like everything's so out of order. I would just like to see Batman grow throughout, and then kind of put him on the shelf for a little bit and let it be done again for another generation. Because the great thing about every Batman we talked about is that every Batman was at a different stage of his career, and no matter who was your favorite, they all brought something to the character, and that's why I can never be, except Clooney. Clooney just fucking sucked, but everybody else.
That's how you really feel, huh?
I mean, listen, it was just an ER thing. But my point to this here is, guys, it's just that, you know, you're not wrong if you think Keaton is the best one. You're not wrong if you think Bale is. You're not even wrong if you think Affleck is or Kilmer, because they all brought different parts of Batman's career together here. I would love to see something how Batman Begins had, and then grow past what the Dark Knight Rises was. Because that's my biggest complaint about the Nolan trilogy, is that you had him at the beginning, his origins. You had him in his second year as the Cape Crusader fighting the Joker. And then he took a massive hiatus, and then he was done. And, you know, he faked his own death, and, you know, that's it. Now, Gordon-Levitt's now going to be Batman. I just think that was a cop-out. Like, I think moving forward, what I like to see them take the character is go to the beginning and get to the very end. Introduce everybody. I think Batman is so big as a character, that he can occupy his own universe on his own. He really, really could. He really could. His rogue gallery, his additional, you know, buddies and stuff like that. I think that there's so much room, especially being Gotham City being such an amazing playground for a character to be in. There can be so many movies, spin-offs of all these other characters and them. They all get together, kind of like Avengers style, but it's just Batman. But it's just Batman. You know, the Bat family.
You're absolutely right on that, because the problem is getting somebody to commit as long. But you could do 2 Batman movies. You could do a Nightwing film. You could do, which would be completely different. Same thing with Jason Todd as Red Hood, completely different. Like you said, you still have Damian Wayne in the League of Shadows and his origin, what comes about. Of course, Batgirl, Oracle. There's so many other ways, and still keep incorporating Batman back in with that host of villain. Like you said, his rogue gallery is extensive. So there's so many.
And we haven't even touched all his villains yet. That's the thing, that if you think about it on film, we've gotten the Joker, 3 times, I guess, technically. 4 times. I love the Joker, but, like, you know, get somebody else in. We had Scarecrow in Batman Begins, and it's not a coincidence that Scarecrow made 1 appearance, and that's my favorite Batman movie, as far as the trilogy is concerned, right? So the list goes on. Two-Face, etc. We haven't gotten a proper Poison Ivy. We've got that lousy one in Batman and Robin. You know, there's Solomon Kane. There's who else? There's so many to go off of.
Court of Owls.
Victor Freeze, Clayface.
Court of Owls. Oh my God. Court of Owls would be amazing. Yes, sir.
I would like to see Deathstroke actually get into an actual movie, not just a TV show.
Do you guys think that? do you guys think, Danny, and Spike and Tank, that HBO Max, I think, is a great platform to do this kind of Batman verse? You know what I mean? And maybe maybe that might be, some of the future plans, especially with Batgirl going to Batgirl going to HBO Max. So for me, it could be very much the plan all along. And so I'm very curious to see how that all kind of pans out.
I don't think that's going to be the plan. I don't think that's going to be. I don't think, to be honest with you, WB truly has a plan there, because quite frankly, they've had a great show on their network for better part of 2-3 years now. Titans, you got Titans, phenomenal show. Like, there's so much going on in there that you can just take these actors, put them in these movies. I mean, yeah, maybe the CW was too skewed young, or just maybe it wasn't as big to put these guys in their own movies, but they've had stuff on their platform. They've used it before. They just recast everybody gets recast. We have now we have 3 active Batmans right now, guys. We have Keaton, we have Affleck, and we have Pattinson that just came out. We have 3. We have 2 active Jokers right now. We have Leto that's still technically around, and you got Joaquin Phoenix. So, there's no rhyme or reason. It's all, at this point, they've given up on the connected start of like an entire universe DC property-wise, and they're all doing their own multiverses and all that there. So I say, if you're going to do that, give Batman his own universe, because his character and his villains and his friends, it's big enough for him to have his own sandbox, and you could print money off that. Everybody will watch that, because
Warner Brothers, if you're there, you hear what Danny just said. I think that's actually, to be honest with you, that's a brilliant idea, to be honest.
And
I mean, Batman alone,
you can get dark enough.
Batman alone can single-handedly, and I'm not saying this because I'm just a fan, but it's just sheer popularity. Batman universe alone can take down the MCU. That's my thoughts on there. If done right. Batman's act, because the only thing that I would say is a threat to Batman is Spider-Man. That's the only thing I can say that there, as far as popularity there,
right,
between the two there,
right.
But listen, Iron Man is done, Captain America is done. All these big names that's been carrying them for 10 years, they've been kind of like up and down with their movies since Endgame. So if there's anything that can bring DC back up to the heights they used to be, you build a Batman universe.
Hey, I think I agree with you. I listen. I totally agree. I totally agree. Tank, what are your thoughts on what Danny was talking about as far as like a whole, Batman verse? Which, by the way, hold on one second. Let me just say this. What about the fact that the HBO Max is having a Penguin series with Colin Farrell? So it kind of looks like the approach is somewhat leaning to what you're saying, Danny. I don't know, but I heard that's a done deal. They're going to do that. So that tells me that they're expanding into the Batman Rogue of Villains as well as the Batman verse. And I also heard, hot off the press, Arkham Asylum Arkham Asylum series on HBO Max as well. I don't know, guys. I'm you may be onto something, Danny, but before we close out, because we are, this has been a great show so far. 2 hours. We're almost at the full length of the Batman movie, which I think is almost 3 hours, is what Danny told me. And I think Tank is going to kill us if we continue on and on, because we could talk so much about Batman, and obviously we're going to talk about it. I have it up right here with his menacing face, the Batman. Next week we have a great show that's going to really talk about that. But what are your final thoughts on Batfleck as far as his place in the Bat universe? What will history say about his portrayal of that character? Tank, let me ask you first, and then we'll let the 2 Batman fanatics close it out.
I think it's going to be, it's going to be the same as it is now, where he's going to have people who don't like him just because they don't like Ben Affleck because he did Daredevil. Because that's really
and Gigi.
all it. Yeah, and Gigi. Then you got people, like us who realize, because I heard a quote from another video I watched. It was like, he was a great Batman in a series of bad movies. And that's
fair.
That's exactly what he is.
That's fair.
If he got the chance to do his trilogy, the talk would be completely different.
I think that's a great assessment. What about you, Danny? How do you see Batman being as portrayed as Ben Affleck being looked at in the history of Batman in film?
What could have been?
Okay.
Incomplete.
Okay. And Spike, you have the last word on this.
GOAT status. Greatest of all time.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Listen,
I mean, after what you were saying earlier.
Obviously, he's my favorite. Real talk. How I feel like he'll be remembered. I think that this performance of Batman, albeit it wasn't in full, is enough for people to forgive the Daredevil days. There's a huge transition in Affleck as an actor, a level of maturity and understanding of where he went wrong in that whole ordeal earlier in his life. I think that a lot of people can appreciate it, especially for what we see coming afterwards. You know, even with Keaton. Keaton did an amazing job in '89, right? He did good. He had a point to prove. But I think he appreciates it so much more 30 years later, being able to do it and knowing what he did. And I feel like Affleck at this point in his life feels like he made a nice mark. And I think people will appreciate him for just that, a nice mark. To echo Tank, I don't think all the movies are bad, but yeah, he didn't get his just due. Like both of the boys said, Danny and Tank. So yeah, just a decent mark. Decent mark. I don't think it'll be a bad mark. He'll be remembered, and it definitely won't be like Clooney them. You know.
Fair enough.
Favorable. That's the best way.
Very good stuff. I mean, listen. I think we covered extensively what this Batman in film was all about. Before we close out, I want to hand it over to the panel for any cosmic thoughts, and then Danny, please give us for those of you that have stuck around, I see you guys in the chat room still. Danny has a special treat. He's going to give us his initial spoiler-free observations without going into details, coming out of the theater and watching it yesterday. But what are your final thoughts, Tank?
Final thoughts, I said, all the, outside of Forever and Batman and Robin, all the Batman films have all been great in their way. Like I said, I'm excited to see the Batman Saturday. And I was going to ask it today, but didn't get a chance to because all the actual talking by someone. I have two questions I'm going to ask you and Spike, Daddy, regarding Batman and everything. So just be prepared for that.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
All right. So I guess you're going to be continued then, Tank. You're saving it for next week?
Yeah, because it's already